Now we're going to look at the next task, which is all about the bank reconciliation. Now the whole point of this is once we have done a trial balance at the end of the month, we need to make sure that everything that we have in our records is the same as what the bank has. So we need to check that they're both correct. So really simple and really easy. And the first stage of what we're in trying to get to this bank reconciliation is that we need to check what we have in our cash book is the same as what we have in our bank statement. So here I have just the first couple of entries from what's in your task. And we can see here we've got the balance brought down. We also have two deposits to start with, one being $65,000, the other being $30,000. And on the payment side, we also have two inspections. One was a building inspection, the other was a pest inspection, I should say. So $2,400 and $800. So what we need to do here is go through the bank statement and tick to make sure A, the amounts are there, and B, that they're correct. So if we look at the first one, the balance brought forward is $19.10, which is what we have there, so we can give that a tick. That's correct. The next thing is we've got a deposit on the bank statement as a credit, which is $65,000 on the 8th of the 3rd. Now we have $65,000 on the 7th of the 3rd. Now the dates on what we have and what's on our bank statement may not be the same, because if we receive a check on this date, it may not actually hit the bank until the day, 2, 3 days after, whatever it may be. So that's why the date doesn't necessarily be there, but we need to check that the deposit and the amounts are correct. So we have 65 and 30,000. Tick, tick. On the payment side of things, we have our first two checks. So check number 44 and check number 45. That's the building inspection and then the pest inspection. And really simply, really easy, we check on the debit side, because they're payments coming out, that those amounts are correct. So as we run through both sides, we're checking that each amount is correct. Once we get to this one here, so the 14th of the 3rd, we have two checks. One from Gal on behalf of Gal for $1,500, which is advertising, so an advertising contribution. And the other one is $120 for a 149 certificate, I should say. So that totals in our records is $1,620. So if we look at that deposit on the 16th of the 3rd, it actually says $1,260. So those amounts aren't correct. So we need to circle them. And we need to work out what to do with them. So you might deal with it now, or we might want to find out all the errors and do it later. But what's really important is that we do these checks first and foremost. Then what we're going to do is we're going to figure out where we need to make that adjustment. And there are two adjustments that can be made. One's going to be in the bank reconciliation here, or we might have to we might have to make an amendment in our cash book under a separate transaction. Now that is really, really important, a separate transaction. The differentiator between the two is simply going to be, if it's our mistake in terms of the real estate agency, we need to make that adjustment in our cash book, because that's our records. If it's an error that the bank has made, then we need to put it in here, which is being the bank reconciliation itself, because it's the bank's error. Now you'll notice on the bottom of one of the pages on the payment side that there are actually 3 errors that it says we are to assume that the bank statement is correct except for them. So we need to work out what they are. And because it's saying the bank's not correct, we need to put it in the bank reconciliation form for those 3 points. So in a practical situation, generally 99 times out of 100, what the bank has, the amount is going to be correct. So if there's any error, we may need to fix our cash book, but those 3 points will certainly mean that we need to fix it here in our bank reconciliation form. So as we're going in and filling it out, we need to write up a couple of things. We need to write up, okay, the date being the end of the month. We need to do the balance as per the bank statement. So the balance being what is the end of month total here. Now I've missed a few transactions, but we know that the end balance is $439,000. So we know that needs to go in there. We need to add any outstanding deposits. Now everyone always asks, what could that be in a practical sense? All it simply means is that if we've received a check, let's say it's the last day on the month, we've got the check, we've receipted it here in our cash book, but the bank doesn't know about it yet. So when we have to work out, it's in our system, we've got $100,000 here that the bank doesn't have in the bank statement. So what we need to do is, and when we say that the error is with the bank, I use it in inverted commas because it's not really their error, but the error is with their books. So what we need to do is add any outstanding deposits if we have them. So if there's a deposit that we have that isn't in our bank statement, that might be where you put it there as well. Bank charges, we're going to know what the bank charges are because they're going to be on the statement. So they need to go in here. Any adjustments in general. So obviously, like I said, if there were 3 dot points that said that the bank statement was correct, except for these instances, that might be a good spot to put them because we need to let them know that they've made an error and we need to adjust those particular figures. You don't put the whole amount, you just put what the difference is. So that's very clear, the difference between the amounts. Now, another really important, when I say error, I use them inverted commas because here, one of our final checks from Jones, on behalf of Jones I should say, so check number 53, was for $16,000. Now it says $16,000 has been taken out of our account, but it hasn't shown up here in the bank statement. So what that means in a practical sense is that they have a check, they just haven't gone to the bank themselves. So that's what we call an unpresented check. So if there are any checks that we have written out but haven't been taken out of our bank statement, this is the spot where they go. Hopefully that makes it really clear for everyone there. So what we're going to do is here above this line, we're going to add all of these figures, add them all together. Then what we do is, as the bank statement says, we're going to less all the unpresented checks because they haven't been taken out of the bank statement just yet. So we're going to put the unpresented checks in here. And then we're going to come to an amount. We're going to have a figure that it's going to relate to here. And we're going to put his balance as per the statement adjusted. So that's our balance of our bank statement with all of the adjustments that we need to make. And then what we're going to do is put that figure right in here. What we then need to do is have a balance as per the cash book. So if we've made any adjustments in our cash book here, we need to write them down here. So let's say, for example, there might have been, this is a great example, there's been a transfer referencing Kelly for $120,000. That's in our bank statement on the last day of the month, but it isn't in our cash book because it was EFT. So we need to include that in here. We need to write a receipt number, the last receipt number, what it is. We need to put Kelly, we need to say it was a deposit, and we need to say $120,000. So the adjustments that we make in the cash book, then we need to come up with a total receipts and a total payments. Now what you do is you add these all up, you take the total payments away from the total receipts, and then that comes to a number. That number is then going to go here, which says balance as per the cash book. The cash book and the bank statement should have the exact same number. That's how you know both figures are correct and that both things are obviously married up together. If you're out, you need to work out what that difference is and then run through these checks again. See if you've missed one. See if there's one that's maybe the amount slightly wrong. We need to work out where it is adjusted. Maybe you've put something in the wrong spot. We need to figure out if you can figure out what the amount is though, it makes it a lot easier to figure out what the issue may be. Now what I can do for you to give you a helping hand is I will give you the number that this task should balance at, which is $518,723. If you can get to those numbers here, and then with the cash book, you know you're on the right track. So hopefully you can do it in both regards because that's how you check that your records are the same with what the bank has. So for those out there, I hope that helps and try and get to that number, $518,723. Good luck.